This way is probably the most popular method there is, but it's also the easiest one to mess up. Nothing is as frustrating as a tangled extension cord when you're in a hurry. Now there's lots of videos showing you how to wrap cords or hoses, but all those methods are easy to mess up. So today I'm gonna show you 5.5 ways to store your cords or hoses so they don't end up like this. One of these methods is so dead simple and foolproof you can't mess it up or forget it, and nobody ever shows you how to do it. So you don't wanna miss that. Welcome to Hacksman, y'all. This first way is what would be called, I guess, the chain or the braided method, and it's probably the most popular pro method there is, but it's also the easiest one to mess up and make essentially a fancy tangle. What I'm gonna do is take the two ends and I'm gonna work my way down to the other end. By the way, there's a couple different versions of doing this as well. I could have just kind of made a loop down there at that end, but I'm gonna do it this way, where I go down to this end and I'm going to stick my hand through that loop and then grab and pull through. And then I'm gonna go through the loop and pull through, and through the loop and pull through. Now this seems very simple, but again, I'll show you what can happen. Through the loop, pull through the loop, pull through. You wanna try to keep all your loops about the same size, but I mean, that's just depending on how nice and neat you want it looking at the end. That looks like a mess, but it's not really a mess. You know, you can fold this up on itself, whatever you want to store it, but I mean, it still looks like a jumbled mess, even though it's not, because when you want to take it apart, all I'm going to do is come down here to this end and I'm going to pull that through and, well, shoot, hold on here. Oh man, come on now. Let's see. Let's pull that through and then I'm just gonna, well, this sucks. Okay, I really should just be able to pull this thing apart. What the? All I have to do is simply pull, okay, and go back through that loop again. All right, hold on, we'll get it. This is exactly what I was telling you about. Man, you know what? The only thing worse than a tangled cord is tangling it intentionally, and then having to untangle it. Let me show you where I went wrong. When you're reaching through and grabbing and pulling and reaching through and grabbing and pulling, it's very easy to kind of have a brain fart and get something twisted up here. And okay, so you pull through, maybe you go in this way this time, and you pull through, and then you've forgotten you've gotten something twisted up, and you pull through, and then by the time you get that in there, and you want to get this out, and it's like, okay, so this is supposed to pull out of here, and you've got to do this, then you snatch, and then, okay, this is wound up, so let me pull that. It's just very easy to get a mess doing that. When you're ready to undo the cord, you have to start with the end that you finished with. So these are the ends of the cord. You have to pull that out first. And then if you've done everything right, it will all come undone nice and even. A better method for, especially a long extension cord, like a 100-foot cord, is this version right here. We're gonna take both ends, hold them together, come out over your arm, and then I'm gonna face this way, and I'm going to go under and under and under and under. And I'm just pushing this cord back to my shoulders, basically. This is also a great way to do interpretive dance. That's where I learned this, was up on the stage. Just keep the figure 8 going. Oh, I feel like Stevie Wonder. Okay. Then when you get that end, take that end, wrap it around, and then come up through. And there you go. Okay, let's see how this rolls out. If I just throw this out, I think that's very important. I'm going to take the two ends and let's throw. Let's see if it actually stays pretty well untangled. And you can see that it does. Dealing with tangled cords is a hassle, and so is figuring out meals when you're short on time and hungry. Now, you could get some overpriced takeout, or you could get cheaper, better tasting restaurant quality meals delivered to your door that are ready to eat in 2 minutes from Factor. No prepping, no cooking, and no cleanup. Just heat and eat. These are fresh, never frozen, chef-prepared meals. That is juicy. Factor has a weekly menu of 35 options that lets someone like me, who's always in a hurry, stick to my goals with a dish like this delicious keto meal. That's good stuff. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code HAXMAN50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code HAXMAN50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thanks to Factor for sponsoring this video. If you don't want to have to try to remember any specific method, but you don't mind accessorizing, is that a word?
Yes.
Okay. Then you can just use a bucket like this. And all I'm going to do is take the end of my cord, put it down in the bucket, and then I'm going to slowly wind it on top of itself. And as it's going in, I'm not just putting it in there all willy-nilly. That's another good word. I'm actually making sure that I kind of rotate it so that it keeps that same nice, neat form as it's laying down. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this takes a long time to do, and ain't nobody got time for that. The good thing is it works basically like a hose reel, except for kind of the opposite. Instead of wrapping around, you're wrapping in. It's going to keep your cord nice and neat. It's not going to be able to tangle up on top of itself, and then whenever you want to use it, you'll just take it out of here. There is an alternative to this, same version. Let me show you that real quick. So to do that, I'm just going to take the cord out of here. Then I'm going to take my drill and a hole saw. I'm going to get real low to the bottom of that bucket, figure out where that bottom is. Let's see, right there. Let's pretend that I've now coiled this back up in the bucket, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take the end of this cord, shove it through there, and now, whenever you want to plug it in, just take this to your wall outlet, plug it in, and then pull your cord out the top. So, I mean, it is a nice, neat way of organizing it. It's just, I don't like it. This method is called the over-under method, and this actually comes from like the film industry. Sound guys, they want to be very careful with their cords that they don't mess up the wires inside and break them basically, and then you get a lot of interference. So that's where this comes from, the over-under, or as I like to call it, the whoopsie-doo. I don't actually call it that. I don't just cut that out. Okay. Whatever. Listen. This one actually looks the simplest to do, but it's actually the one that's kind of the easiest. And when you're doing it and you watch somebody do it and you're like, this ain't right. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this cord in my hand, the end of the cord, just like this in the palm of my hand. Some people do it facing out, some people face it in. I'm gonna do it out, and then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna go over, okay? This is going over. This loop is on the outside of my hand here. And then I see people doing this like different ways where they're like, okay, and then you come around and you do that. And then you go over, but that's very confusing. And you come around and you go over. Like this looks like something, this does not look right, all right? Even though it is right, it doesn't look that way, and so it's confusing if you haven't done it a bunch. Into the cord, in my hand, facing out. I'm gonna slide my hand down the cord, I'm gonna make a loop, and my palms are together, thumbs are side by side, okay? And my palm is towards me. Now I'm gonna turn my palm out, and I'm gonna grab it right here, and then I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna twist, and my thumbs are going to be facing each other, opposite of each other. And then that loop, and you can see this is what's confusing, because as this comes in, this loop is right there, and these are gonna kind of crisscross a little bit. So now I come down, I make a normal loop. My thumbs are side by side. Then my palm is gonna go out, I'm gonna grab, and then as I come up, I'm gonna twist, and my thumbs are going to be opposing. They're gonna be facing the opposite direction. Slide my hand down. This is the over. Palm out. This is the under. I bring that in, twist my thumb towards me. Then I come down. Regular loop, that's the over. That's kind of your natural motion right there. Then the unnatural motion is I turn my hand towards you, grab it, and then back to myself, over, towards you, towards me. Natural, and there you have it. And if you get better size loops, obviously it'll look nicer. But let's see how this throws out, because that's kind of one of the main deals with this method. Which way do I want to throw it, Kim? Let's throw it this way.
Yeah.
Throw it that way. You ready? Here we go. And that's what you want. All right, let me try it with the bigger cord. There you have it, the oopsie doopsie, whoopsie daisy, over under. All right, let me throw it out one more time. Much better than the chain method. I think the figure 8 method is still better, but there's an even easier method. But before I show you that, I think it's important to understand why we run into all these problems with cords in the first place. You know, the science behind it.
I say, is the camera rolling? Okay, yes, quite good. I see, old boy, it's really quite simple, you see. A mix of physics and a bit of chaos. Here's what's happening. First, as you move the cord around, twists naturally form. These twists start building tension within the cord, and that tension makes loops. As more loops form, they start crossing over each other, and boom! Instant tangles. Now, cords, like everything else in the universe, are always trying to settle into a low energy state. But instead of neatly relaxing, they often collapse into messy, tangled shapes because it's easier for the cord to form knots than to stay perfectly straight. And let's not forget friction. Once those loops start rubbing together, the cord gets locked into the tangled mess you know and hate. So next time your extension cord ties itself in knots, blame a mix of randomness, energy, and friction. Simple physics, really.
What are you doing out here?
Nothing. nothing.
Now for the easiest, no-brainer, dead simple method. It's the KISS method. Give me some sugar, baby. If you know what KISS means, that means keep it simple, stupid. Take these two ends of the cord, and I'm gonna plug them into each other. Plug them into each other. You freaking kidding me? Come on. All right.
Oh my gosh, you scared me.
Stupid. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna plug these two ends to each other, okay?
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Take it in your hand like so. Out here, down to your waist. Make a loop. Make a loop. Make a loop.
Just regular loops?
Just regular loops. That's all I'm doing. That's it. I mean, my gosh, people, I don't understand. Throw that out there. Shall we do it again?
Oh my God.
One more time. I mean, these other methods, they're fancy and all, and you can impress your friends with them. This ain't gonna impress anybody, but I mean, you can't mess it up. Plug the two ends to each other, hold that end up, wait for the airplane to fly over, in the hand. Make a loop. Make a loop. Make a loop. Make another loop. Make another loop. And then when you get done, if you want, you can kind of wrap it around itself to make a little knot to hang it. And you can be more careful and make your loops more the same size. I'm just worried about speed. And this right here is kind of the key to most of these methods, is if you keep it side by side, keep the two ends together, it prevents a lot of the tangles. I just like to plug it into itself because it just makes it easier to remember. Let me try it with the 100-foot cord, and then one more thing after that as well. 100-foot cord, plug it into itself. Ta-da. Loop. I'm not even being careful how I'm doing this. You might want to make your loops the same size just so that it looks nicer. But there is nothing to this process. You can kind of loop that through. And you can make a little hanger if you want. Here we go, ready? Look at that. Beautiful. It is a thing of beauty. Let me show you what else is beautiful. We use these flexible garden hoses, and the reason is because they're supposed to wind up really nice and not take up a lot of space. But they're a freaking nightmare, okay? These things are horrible because they wind up so terribly and get in such a mess. I hate them. Get a cord reel, people. But if you don't have a cord reel and you do have this, again, same thing. I'm just gonna screw one end to the other end. Now, obviously, you know, you're not gonna be able to attach to your faucet while you're doing this. But let's test it. Loop, loop. I'm not being careful here. There's your hose, all nice and wound up neatly. But, oh man, stupid hose, stupid. Oh my gosh, this thing is gonna be a mess now. Yes. I really ruined that. Here's what's great. It looks like it's in a mess, but it's not. If you keep these two parallel, there, it all comes out nice and even. That's what I love about it. This is the absolute no-fail KISS method for winding up cords, hoses, and rope.
I think if I just go under one more time. Guys, if you found this video useful, you should really check out this video because I think you'll really love it. And I will see you next time.
I want my mommy.